池上彰と
増田ユリヤの
YouTube 学園。
まずはその東西冷戦時代にアメリカの大学に来ることになった経緯のところを、自分でその大学の研究費が打ち止めになって、自分で大学を探していろんな手立てを取ってきたのか、少し詳しくお聞きしたいんですが。
So officially, if we had a job offer that we could leave the country with our family. So in communist Hungary, it was still possible to leave officially and return and anytime if we want. So when I get the job offer from Temple University, I could get permission. And so with my family, with my husband and my daughter was 2.5 years old, that we could leave Hungary, and we arrived here. And I started to work at Temple University.
それで、いろいろその来るのに大変だったことっていうのは、記事でも読んだんですけれども、そのお金の調達であるとか、現地に行く、手立てですよね。その辺での、苦労話みたいなのちょっと聞いてもらってもいいですかね。
So because my sister, my mother, were in Hungary, so we never wanted to live on the way that we never can return. And getting a job offer from Temple University, I was just writing a letter and saying that who I am, what I can do. And here Professor Suhadolnik was working on the same field, and I had an essay, and he was interested to have in his laboratory somebody to do this kind of essay established. And so he wanted me to come here. And so we sold, our car, and then we exchanged the money. But this was, difficult because you officially couldn't convert the money, so that we had to do it unofficially, and then we tried to smuggle in so that we don't have to arrive to the United States with $100, but rather we had $1,000.
で、その$1,000をテディベアに隠したっていう記事を読んだんですけれども、やっぱりその見えないように持っていかなきゃいけなかった。その辺はどういうふうにアイデア考えたんですか？
Yeah, yes. So because as I told you, it was officially in Hungary, in the communist Hungary, you're not supposed to own foreign currency. If somebody give you money, you had to go to the bank and give it to them, and then they gave you back the Hungarian equivalent. So officially, we were not supposed to own $1,000. And so I put in a plastic and cut the back of the bear, and then I put inside and sew it back and give it to my daughter. And then we watch her at the airport that make sure. So eventually my daughter was the smuggler, not us. She was carrying the bear.
なるほど。研究をね、そうやって続けていらしたわけですけれども、当時から mRNA の研究っていうものに着目していたんですか？
So in Hungary in 1978, when I started my PhD program, I joined the organic chemist group. And they were RNA group. They work synthesizing chemically RNA. And so I came to this group, and then my role was to set up an antiviral assay and do my thesis, PhD thesis. But the thesis was about to make not the mRNA, the messenger RNA is a long molecule. This was just a short 3 nucleotide containing molecule. Okay, I joined the group who work on RNA. Messenger RNA, you cannot synthesize up until 1984.
なので、例えば90年代にいわゆるゲノムの解析とか、いわゆる遺伝子の 多分科学での流行があったと思うんですよね。でもそういうものを、全然こう動じないでと言いますか、流行とか、その注目されているものであればもしかしたら研究費もついてくるかもしれないというような側面があると思うんですけれども、それでもずっとその mRNA というものの研究を続けてきたのはなぜなんですか？
Yeah, so as I mentioned, I always work with RNA. And so the advantage, what I learned is one is the difficulty to deliver. Okay. So when I first time learned how there is a new called lipofectin, a material that you can put to the RNA and deliver, I thought that, okay. So I always thought that the people use the DNA, okay, to gene therapy, yeah, and they want permanent change. So in the Human Genome Project started in 1990, and they discovered new genes, and they thought that if the gene has a mistake in somebody, gene therapy put inside. And I argued that most of the people don't need gene therapy. They just need short, they have pain, injury, and you just have to give something which they already have, just not enough to help to, for example, wound healing. And you can apply some mRNA, which is beneficial, and you just apply once or twice, and that's it. You don't need change the genes. They said RNA degrades, and I said this is good because you don't want the RNA, something to there forever, yeah, just for a short period.
それは人体に対して負担が少ないということですか？
So the DNA is permanent. The RNA is just transient. It is there for 1 day, 2 days, makes the protein, because the RNA, DNA, both of them instruction, had to be made the protein from it, yeah? So it is none of them the direct therapeutics. Only if the body make protein from it, then it is the therapeutic. So, but the DNA is permanent. The RNA is just like any other drug. You add, if it is good, then you give again. And when the injury heals, stop it. Just like a regular drug.
だから開発をしていくと意味があるっていうか、より安全なことでその病気とかいろいろなものを薬のように治せるっていう、そういう可能性があるものだっていうふうに考えてたってことですよね。わかりました。で、その今ね、こんなふうに、ワクチンの開発に非常に役に立って、皆さんがすごく喜んでいるというか、そういう面がありますが、この今の状況についてどんなふうに受け止めてますか？
Yes, you have to understand, that I wanted to develop always mRNA for therapy, for stroke patient and others. And only my colleague, Drew Weissman, who I work together, he wanted to have vaccine. So. And our common work resulted that we come up with this modified RNA, which is in this vaccine made by Moderna and Pfizer. So, so I am very happy that it is so useful. I never thought about, I just wanted to wait that one person will be helped. I wanted like that I will help. That's why I went to Germany, so that I can help at least, seeing that getting to the clinic, and then one person will be helped. So that's what I wanted to see.
セラピーっていうのはどういう、例えばどういうことっていうことですか？
So when the RNA is coding for other than viral or tumor antigen. So therapy is, we have one clinical trial with Sanofi. Sanofi is a company in Germany, or in France, Sanofi. And we are injecting messenger RNA coding for cytokines in the tumor. And then the immune cells will come here and then they circulate, in the body, and then they will eliminate even metastatic tumors. For example, this is a therapeutic use of mRNA. So the mRNA code for chemokines, cytokines, which will invite the immune cells to the tumor.
今回その mRNA っていうのはこれまでのねワクチンよりもすごく速いスピードでたくさんのものを作っていけるっていうようなことでしたけれども、これだけいろいろな形でワクチンの接種が進んできて副反応のことっていうのが出てきています。で、その副反応について日本人って非常に慎重な面があるので、割合として低いと言われても怖いんじゃないかと思っている人もいるんですよね。で、そのあたりの副反応とか、安全性について現段階でどのように考えてますか？
So you might have to know that it was not the first time used as a vaccine. 2 years ago, Moderna already used in human against influenza. They made the nucleoside modified RNA, LNP formulated the same right now in the Moderna vaccine, and they used in clinical trial in Germany against influenza. And BioNTech already worked together with Pfizer from 2018, and we developed a vaccine for influenza, again, influenza. It was just in the last minute when the corona came that we switched over from influenza to corona. And of course, ideally we should have just, a couple of hundred people, a trial, but if you don't have the virus, you cannot test the vaccine. You understand? Because you don't know whether it is protected. You can inject everybody and nobody gets sick, because nobody gets infected because there is no virus. Yeah. So I wish that it wouldn't be pandemic. I didn't expect it, that it would have been ideally step by step, but animal experiment, monkey experiment was already published in 2017, showing the animals were Zika virus, were influenza, and different viruses were already, herpes virus was already shown that in large animals, they protected, those animals were followed.
要するに安全性については自信があるというふうに考えていいということですね。わかりました。で、これちょっとノーベル賞なんて言われてますけれども、そのことについてはどう考えてますか？
I am thinking about things which is real. Somebody else is deciding something about the price. I am not thinking about at all. My mother, she always listened in every October. And she expected that I will get the Nobel Prize, that she expected. And she was like 80 years old. Unfortunately, she died 2 years ago. But I told her, Mom, I didn't even get a grant for my research. How would I get such an award? And she always said, yeah, but you work so hard. And I told that everybody, all researcher works very hard.
なるほど、わかりました。カリコさんは高校の時の先生が良かった。だからここまで研究というものに没頭していくことになったということを言ってますけれども、どんな先生だったんですか？
So I would emphasize very much that how important the teachers are. They should be in society, reward and respect more than in these days. And he gave me he made give us a book, and this was written by Hans Scheyer. Scheyer was a Hungarian, but he lived in Canada, and he coined the word stress. previously stress, that word was used in physics, but he used in 1930 for the emotion. And we read the book, How to Live Our Life Without Stress. Yeah. And then this book, what we discussed with the high school teacher, that helped me all in life, focus what I can do and not to focus other people, what they say, what they do, that's what was important. And also he encouraged us to think about, so he didn't present it that this is the fact, but we have to think. And he was very, very important to make that I never seen a scientist in my life. And in high school, I decided I would be a scientist. I didn't know what they do, but I just decided that I want to go to work and every day do something else. And I don't know what, but something else.
科学っていうか、そういう理科系の教科が一番好きだったんですか、カリコさんは。
Yeah, I like chemistry. I like chemistry and biology, and I was even I like and I was good, but I grew up in a small town. I couldn't speak, we couldn't learn English, so you see that I have strong accent. Because I learned when I was 19 years old, when I went to the university. So when I went to the university, I was kind of behind because other people coming from big city, they already speak English, they could, did many things, but which in small town school, we couldn't learn, but the teachers were good. And, I learned enough that I could excel at the university. I was always in the top of the class, also at the university.
でちょっと話が変わるんですけれども、ハンガリーと行き来をする形でハンガリーを出たということでしたけれども、国籍とかそういったことっていうのはアメリカでの生活っていうのはどういうふうにしているんですか？
A scientist is home in the laboratory, so it doesn't matter which country you are. I think it was 95, so at least 10 years, 10 years.
私、その移民の人とかの取材をしてるんですけれども、移民としての暮らしっていうのは、暮らしづらいとか、そういったことっていうのは何かありますか、アメリカに行ってから。
Yeah, especially at the beginning, our living standard was dropped. Because in Hungary, we had a washing machine to wash our clothes. And we came here, we rent an apartment and we had to go to the basement and put the coins in and wash our clothes and go back. And so our life was more difficult here. And even the laboratory, I went in Hungary, we had a modern laboratory, and here the laboratory was not very good. So, but there were money to research, and the environment in the university, especially University of Pennsylvania, it was so many great scientists gave lectures. And that was so great, to learn from others. But we are not, we are living a simpler life. So in Hungary or here, it doesn't matter. We are just husband and family, and that's it.
例えばその研究者の間っていうのはやっぱり科学者っていうこともあると思うんですけれども、何か差別があるとか、国によって不都合があるとか、そういったことはないって考えていいんですか？
No, but because I came from Hungary, and many behind the Iron Curtain, many times we couldn't buy things, and we always had to make it. So this this way, my attitude for everything was when something we needed, okay, let's see and look it up how to make it, and I check it out and I made it, so here more like, order, and if not coming, we are waiting. I said, okay, we can make it, so more like troubleshooting constantly that, oh, we can do that, why others, so learning this as a Hungarian struggle, a lot of struggle, but learning how to solve problems. And here, that was a useful, yeah.
わかりました。ちょっとまた話が戻るんですけれども、日本の記事の中で、夏までにはコロナがこのワクチンによって収束するでしょうという記事を読んだんですが、このコロナはいつ頃収束するっていうふうに考えてますか？
Yeah. So, the emerge of these variants were something not expected, but I think that the end of the summer here in the US, I expect that will be normalized. We now can see that the vaccine not only protects from hospitalization, but also infection. So right now, the first data was out this week that, 80-90% less infected, not just not getting sick. Those who are vaccinated, they are not getting infected. And if you are not infected, you are not spreading. So I am very optimistic that I don't know in Japan when it will happen, but here in the US, probably in the summer, it will be better and maybe normalized end of the summer.
わかりました。今ね、ワクチンが足りないとか行き渡らないという状況があるにせよ、ワクチンの一定の効果があるということが分かってきました。で、これからカリコさんはどういう研究をしていこうと考えてますか？
We are working on messenger RNA coding for antibodies. And so actually this was the meeting right before you. That's what I was with the colleagues talking about this project. The messenger RNA code for antibodies. These antibodies are against cancer, specific antibodies. So, not a vaccine, but code for an antibody, a protein.
要するに、がんの治療に対する効果なのか、がんを予防することなのか、どっちなんですかね。
This is not vaccine. This is not vaccine. The antibody is passive immunization. So you give the antibody and immediately recognize cancer specific, and the other is T cell. So these are called bispecific antibodies. And then it brings together the cell which will kill the tumor, delivering as a messenger RNA, because the half-life of the protein is very quickly degraded, like half an hour. The RNA, the protein degrades. So you provide the RNA and it keeps making the protein. So this is a therapeutic.
じゃあもうワクチンの域は超えてももっと別のものに今何でしょうの研究を進めようとしているということ。
Medicine. Like right now, there are many antibodies for cancer treatment also in the clinic, but those are protein. We are delivering messenger RNA.
じゃあmRNA っていうのは本当に今人類が困ってる病気とかそういったものに対してすごく有効なものっていうふうに確信を持ってきたっていうことですかね。
Of course, I am happy about that. Yeah.
やっぱり研究続けてきてよかったって思ってますよね。
So others are doing, you could read that Pfizer will take over and will address other vaccines for influenza, and others, they will, big company, they can do it. And so other people, there are many applications, not for everything, but for many things. It is good way because the protein, to make a recombinant protein, it is it is expensive because it had to be purified. But the mRNA is using your body to make the protein.
要するに外で作るわけじゃなくて、その mRNA を入れることによって自分の体の中でタンパク質を作り出すっていうことで、すごくこう使い勝手がいいというか、そういう面もあるってこと。
Yes.
うん。
And you know that for mRNA, it is always the 4 nucleotide. Only the order is different. But when you are making the protein, each protein had to be work out new purification, new something, because the protein is very different. But the RNA is always the same. Only the order of the nucleotide is different. So the production is the same always. Everything is the same. Easy.
カリコさんがこう嬉しかったとか幸せだなと、この研究の中で思ったことっていうのはどういうことですか？
Yes, of course. You know that it is I worked on many different things, but always it is about RNA, and you figure out application, and this would be good for that or good for that, and it is all excitement and happiness. So I like the research when I was doing. I like to be in the laboratory, not in the spotlight right now, giving interview.
すいません、なんか時間の邪魔しちゃって。ちなみにこの、1日の中でとか、あれなんですけど、研究に時間を割いてるっていうのはどのくらいの時間なんですか、カリコさんにとって。
I now, I am 66 years old. I am not in the laboratory, but when, 10 years ago, I usually went, early, like 8 o'clock, I was there, and I did all of the experiment with my own hands. Yeah. So I did the experiment and did animal study. I had a Japanese colleague, Hiromi Muramatsu, and we worked together, 2 of us. We went weekends, Saturday, Sunday, work hard. And then reading the papers, writing the notebooks. So it is a lot of, and it is endless, late evening, and then next day again, start all over. But it was fun. And he enjoyed also, my Japanese colleague. Right now, writing papers, writing patents, and reading everything. Every day there is so much to read about what happens to the vaccine, what happens to everything, is a lot of reading. I'm sitting here reading.
カリコさんは今の時点でご自身が思い描いたような科学者になってますか？
Yes, of course. I am happy that people are helped, and they are so happy about, and so I'm thinking, other things what I can do, but so I am happy that I am a scientist, and we could do this. Yeah, I am happy.
研究はもう生涯続けるっていうふうに思ってますか？
So first of all, I want to tell her, because you said that she's also a teacher. Okay, so I thanks to my teachers always, and even this high school teacher, that the high school teacher who helped me to be a scientist. I just talked to him last week. I call him frequently and tell him that, and he is very happy, that. So I share the spotlight with him also, and this is important, acknowledging, the teachers that their job, they did a great job, and we have to do that. All of the students should go back and thanks to the teacher. You also, you have to go to thanks to your teachers, and so there is no retirement. The scientists are like the rock musicians. As long as they are still moving, they are playing, and then they drop dead, and that's the end of it. No retirement.
チャンネル登録よろしくお願いします。
ポチッとね。
いろいろなものがまだ上がってますから、そちらも見てください。
よろしくお願いします。
よろしくお願いします。